Wasn't made it. Hey, Bill. G'day, everyone. From Bill. Mark Osborne, good day. I was going to send you an email tonight, but I missed out. We'll talk about that in a minute. David Ian Sykes, good day. Rustin Ox, good day. Dan Shed, good day. Dan Shed's looking for a set of Myford change wheels. If anyone has a set, I'll mention it again a bit later on, but looking for one. If anyone's got a set of change wheels kicking around, and probably a banjo, I think it needs to. Yeah. Anyone's got bits or sees bits, let him know or let me know. Hey, Paul. Matt Peterson, g'day. I'm seriously cold. I probably should have got a jumper, to be honest. Didn't think of that one through very well. But down here in the workshop, it's not particularly warm. Look, this bench hasn't got any clearer, and I'm not even making apologies tonight because I've done a few little jobs here and I really want to get it a little bit cleaner, but at this point it's not happening. Every time I go upstairs I take something up or I put something away when I come down here, but there's still stuff here everywhere. Russell Toll, good day. Bill says go get a jumper. I'll be back. Okay, I'm back. It's a little bit warmer anyway. Anthony Ruddy, g'day. Go Create Hobby Machine Shop. Good video from Go Create this week. Should check that out. Some good videos from Knackler's Workshop too. I'm moving in the new workshop. That's pretty good. There was a new one from Rustin Ox. That was pretty good. It's probably about, I don't know, it's probably 6 or 8 down there, 10 maybe. Might be 12, but it feels a bit cold. Maddie's Workshop. Hey, no, just checking in on you, that's all. I'm going to say hi. Joe Durden, good day. It isn't summer here. Maddie's still alive, that's good. It's very important. Put a video out this week. I guess everyone saw it. Don't get to expect it or anything, but it did actually go out, and that's excellent. And I should do it more often. I'm a bit slack. Thanks for everyone who watched it and commented. Really appreciated that. Anyone who saw it, and I know there's people who don't comment on this that did comment on that, and appreciate it. And some good some good some good ideas floating around about finishing off my thread cutting attachment. We'll have a look at that in a minute, maybe. And a friend asked me about this. I don't know if anyone's seen it. This is a... let's move here so you can actually see it. This is a small hole gauge. It's not a bad thing, actually. It's a fairly useful thing. This one's not too bad. But I see where they're actually available again. In Australia or in New Zealand, there's a company that actually sells these. I'm not sure how much they are or anything else like that. I did send them an email, say, hey, what are these worth? Because it's a useful thing. This isn't really a hole gauge as such as an aperture gauge for spray gun nozzles. I don't put myself under pressure, but it is nice to make videos. It goes from 30 thou through to 130 thou, something like that, this model. It's a quick check hole gauge. And I believe they're still made in USA. By EW Standard Corp, this says. I don't know if the new one's got that written on it. I believe there's a spray gun nozzle company handles them. Anyway, this is a quick check. It's a pretty useful thing for small holes. Pity it only goes down to 20 thou, or this one would be at work, because it's a pretty useful thing at work. But basically, if you want to measure the diameter of a hole, like say that one in there, you just let him go until that rests on that pops through and rests on the hole, and then on there you could read it, probably. It's telling me that's 92, 93 thou. There you go. 92 thou in the window there on the line. So, super handy tool for small gauges. Probably quicker and easier than messing around with gauge gauge pins, which is probably the accurate way to do things. But by the time you try and 5 gauge pins and then find one that fits and try it again, then try one each side again. And if you're only working within a thou, this is a pretty useful thing. So not everyone's seen one of them. And it's got wire and drill sizes on this side, so in a table. So if you want to know what size a number 59 drill is, or a number 70 drill, or a 16th drill, that tells you. This one's got a bit of damage, a bit of spotting, but it's something that does get used pretty regularly. Where did I get this one? Summer Bash 2017, something like that, 2016, 17, something like that. First year I went, 2016, I think it was. No, 2017, at the swap meet. Now, there is a company that's making them, and I'll keep you posted, because I did send them an email to see how much they were, and they're still available new. But it's a pretty useful little micrometer for small sizes. It goes up to 130 thou, and there's another one that goes up to 260, I think, from 120 to 260, something like that. So that's quite a bit bigger, but fairly useful tool. Hey, John Creasy. So anyway, now Troy AM. on Facebook who's having a bit of a clean out because he's hurt his knee and he's trying to get himself sort of sorted out. Anthony, yeah, it's very handy for checking your orifices. And I sort of looked through the list and thought this might be very nice. This is a Starrett 200 to 1.2 internal micrometer, which I never had. It's the Imperial one. It's fairly nice. It's got some rust bitting on there. I don't think there's anything you can do about it. Hey, Brendan. I don't think there's anything we can do about that, but it'd be nice if it could be fixed, but I don't think it can. So wonder how you go Cerakoting these drawers and then recalibrating it. Wonder how good that would be. Anyway, nice little tool to have, that come today. Anyway, that's me on small hole gauges. Don't know very much about it. I've got these too. Which probably come from Keith Fenner in 2016, I think. Small hole gauges, Products Engineering Corp. Don't know where these are made, probably America. But these are fairly useful too. These are good. Just a 2-point spring gauge. This one needs letting off. But I'm not as in love with these as other measuring systems. Hey, Dan. What's the news? Brendan's got a rolling chassis, I think. I don't know if it's running on compressed air or not, but his locomotive's starting to look pretty good. Kevin, g'day. That's kind of what's happening. I guess you all saw that thread I did, so there's no point labouring over that. I need some springs to put that back together, and we'll start thinking about it. I seem to have a big jar of silica gel, which keep us posted, Brendan. Love to see a video when it's going. If it's going, you might give up at this point. So I've been drying this out. This is colour indicated, so when it's dry it turns blue, and when it gets wet it turns pink. Some of it's been dried out too many times probably, and it's not really the sort that you can dry out, but this bottle keeps getting added to. I'm going to need a bigger jar, I think. This old Tony's dad died? I didn't know about that. Bill says don't eat it. Excellent. Anyone here an upholsterer? Good job for you if you have. Anyway. Okay, so it was a little while back maybe, Brendan. I don't know. I didn't see that. So, I don't know if I showed that. These are the fancy the fancy 190 micron gauze filters for straining for straining this stuff. So they come with it, they're like 60 cents each or something, and there's a syringe in the bag as well, obviously for mixing accurately. But and instructions that say put tape on the lettering on the syringe so that when you clean it up it doesn't delete the lettering. So that's an interesting tip. Anthony, does that need to be cooked? Yes, it needs to be baked at 250 for an hour or something like that, hour and a half. There's a lot of fairly fussy things about this. If you have a look at the Cerakote H series application video and looking at anything online, I think it is pretty fussy stuff. I think you do need to sandblast, and you do need to basically degrease and degrease and degrease until there's no fingers left on your hands, basically, and then sandblast, and then you put a thin wet coat on, and then it's left to flash off, and then you bake it. So fairly interesting stuff. We'll see. Bill's on fire tonight. So that's, I'm probably going to, because I reflange this, and I don't really want to clean all this out good enough to plate it. Probably I'm just going to Cerakote this black as the hub and hopefully it's for the bike, and then hopefully that's thin enough there to still show all the writing on it. So there we go. Mark Osborne, there was some Tether cars for sale here on the Gold Coast today on Marketplace. There's 5 or 6 cars with engines and everything, pretty tidy, all tyre moulds and stuff. Went to have a closer look tonight, not because I can really afford them, but because I did want to have a look, and the ad's gone, so we've missed out there. Hey Max, g'day. Hey Craig. Anyway, Temptation's gone, so that's good. I don't have to spend some money on Tether cars that will probably never ever go again, and I really don't want to run noisy Tether cars here, and I can't get the engines I do build going, so why make more? It's still 400. Everyone's holding their breath wondering what's happening with it. I'm not really ignoring it, I'm just ignoring it. And the carby that I bought sort of okay, but it's not really tall enough for the engine, so I really don't know what to do. Don't know if there's another carby. I don't know whether I just prop it up or whether I put it on a long enough spout that hangs over the edge of the base, or what I do. Anyway, more about that very, very soon. So there we go. Anyway, we would like very much to get, oh come on, I'm just fired. I started this, opened this tablet up, and now everyone's message for the last 2 days is going to download, so sorry about the dings. I'm trying not to ignore it, but there you go. Anyone who messaged me on Messenger in the last week is probably that was their ding. How's the workshop looking now? Kevin says. We've got total chaos, to be honest. This is stuff that I'm working on putting away. It still has needs homes. Don't know what to do with some of it. There's an upholstery job for someone on that saddle. There's bits of notepaper. There's some boxes I printed to sort some bolts out that we haven't got there yet. There's projects. Some things are permanent fixture, like that sign box is probably going to stay there. I'm working on messing around with that vice. A lot of these are bike bits and things that I've got for sale, that sort of thing. Anyway, it's a work in progress, and I was looking for a small drill, and I got these out, but I haven't put them back, and there wasn't the right to a small drill there. So there we go. If we move over here, plan for the vice, I'm going to straighten it. Such a tidy worker. Yeah, that's me. Shaper's there, drill press is there, Linish is sort of sitting there, and the one up the end, which you can't see, we could straighten that up, is the tapping machine. So there you go. That's all sorted. Hey, I'm really unorganised today and it's a bit cold, so I'm going to go pee. So I'm only going to be a second, but please hang on, just talk amongst yourselves and I'll be back. Anyway, I'm back. When we see me come through the door over there, but you probably didn't either. Anyway. This is less chaotic than it has been any time in the last 4 doors. Shut the door, you can hear me? Okay. Roller box that I had the other day. I think I may have rehomed it already. I think that's what we were talking about. Is that what we were talking about? The Herbert one? Matt, I think so. Max, is that what we were talking about? Yeah. Yeah, that was quick. This is way less. Sorry, Max. I think I rehomed it. But we need to talk anyway when we have time, because I have something that's probably going to be yours. Yeah, I have a parcel in Western Australia that I can't really see the sense in bringing over here. So we can talk about stuff. Anyway, so that's all sorted. Pretty much. This is different stuff on this bench over here. This is mostly different stuff on this bench than was here last time, because I've unpacked boxes and I've put stuff away and I've got more boxes spread out here. So it's actually a different lot of junk. Hi Everett, good to see you. Yeah, Dan's alive, there's nothing wrong with him. At the old bloke's place down the road. Yeah, probably. I don't know how old he is, but yeah. No, not that old bloke. At Gert's place, actually, I think. I think Gert has them. So you're the only person I know in Western Australia who might be able to use them. So we'll talk about it. It was a prize from Summer Bash. So if you had a spare K-type Sturmey Archer bike hub, I would be very interested in swapping. But apart from that, they're probably just yours. New video from Max out on Friday would be awesome. Mill. I'll just put this up here probably. Don't know if this is really the answer. Sorry about the seasickness. Oh, come on. Don't do that to me. There we go, probably. There we go. Yeah, I don't know what happened with the focus there. Sorry. You think you owe Gert some money? Okay. Okay. Well, when you got it all sorted out and you can talk to him again, we'll sort that out. Craig Crack 2000. That's excellent. I didn't know about that, but that's great. Anyway, this mill is up and running pretty well. I've got the VFD down here. You can see that. But that's kind of okay. I haven't hooked up this switch yet, and I'm still working on it, this switch here. So I need to find the book for that. This is one of this week's searches, is to find a book for that VFD, which must be here somewhere, which tells me how to hook this in and make it work. Anyway, DRO's up there, all ready to go, which is excellent. Couldn't handle a horizontal mill even without a DRO now. What else? The saw's there. It's probably going to live there on the bench somewhere. But oven's down there. I think the oven's actually plugged in, which is pretty exciting. I think I may have fried my ultrasonic cleaner. Not sure about that, but the heater seems to be stuck on, and it actually it boiled dry, so it has a rusty spot in the middle. I'm not particularly happy about that, but it's not an expensive one, which I guess is why you're buying cheap stuff. Crap. This is probably something I should spend some time on. At the moment, you've got to undo 2 grub screws here, which are going to wreck the shaft to take this on and off. And it's a bit of a pain not having it in place all the time, or having it in place all the time, because if you do anything with the 4-jaw chuck, what you find is that this touches on the 4-jaw chuck. So it'd be very nice if this would just unplug. Now, Poppy actually sent a suggestion that we could put a spline on here. Something like that might be really good. And if we spline this, or found a spline collar and a spline for the universal, or even pulled this shaft out and run a spline on it, which we're probably more than capable of doing it, then we could make it a spine collar that goes on here and just slides on with a ball detent maybe. That's what needs doing. The other thing that this really needs is a guard, because it's a bit ferocious. It's all right, just turn it over by hand, and that's not really a big deal. But when you're actually cutting heavier threads and you need the machine going, it's a bit scary. So, still thinking about that. But if we made up a template for it and then got a bit of tin a bit bigger and bead rolled it and then bead rolled it a bit of a radius on it maybe, and then made it back with a flange on it that fits together, might be fun. Anyway, that's the chop up a milk crate. Max says that might be as good as anything, to be honest, but it needs to look a bit pretty. But it's pretty good. It's surprisingly good. There's surprisingly little backlash. In fact, I can wind in on this thread and wind back out without retracting the tool and not noticeably see that I've screwed up the thread at all. So that happens occasionally by accident, but I'm a little bit impressed with that. What I did do, this is 3D printed, which is just a thread protector. It's PLA. But I did spray it with Loctite primer, and surprisingly it all turned white. So, or not surprisingly, or something. So we've got a white spot on that as of the weekend. But I've probably got 3 of these somewhere. I've got a ST also just print another one if it gets to me. But there's one on the dividing head and there's one on here, and I've got a spare somewhere. Just a this just needs to click on and off, and this side's got a ball detent in it, which gives us our 2 positions. Like it locks it there so that there's 3 wheels. We try not to think too much about the bend in it. And if you click it in place there like that, then that's should be, yeah, it's reasonably firm. And it's not just going to fall out. This will have some sort of a system on here to pop this out. So when for power feed, when this gets to a certain point, we can pop this out and stop the feed. So because the feed up was probably feed up against the shoulder is the thoughts about that. Anyway, I don't know if anyone's quite as interested in that particular machine as I am, but I really like this lathe, and it's sort of it's an ongoing thing. But need to get some time and energy into getting it finished. There's not a whole lot to do with it as far as getting it finished. This is all sort of done. We need this here, we need a guard, and we need a lever or some sort of a knob on there. What I would really like is some sort of a crank system on there. So whether I make a square key or something to go in here with a crank handle on it, so that I can crank this by hand to cut threads rather than pull the belt over, which is a bit of an ordeal actually. So might make a crank handle for that at some point if I can think how to do it without undoing the drawbar every time you want to put it on. At some point I'll buy a set of cast iron gears for a Sieg mini lathe, which is what actually fits it. So, but the plastic ones seem to work fine, surprisingly well. When we've got all this on, I'd like to put a guard over this. That's sort of a couple of guards on this machine would be useful. I would like to make something that goes under these oilers with a guard all the way up. That's a project for that, or even up to here, something like that, so that you don't get your finger caught in here, which is not good. But at this point it hasn't happened, and you've got to be pretty careful with it, but exposed belts really aren't ideal. I'm going to move this over here onto the compound so you can see a bit more of the Empire of Dirt. This is something else that I want to do and I haven't done yet. We have a hole, right? The belts run through here. There's got to be 2 belts on here, or there's supposed to be 2 belts on here, and I've taken one off because at this point it needs a little bit more work to be satisfactory. But what I'd like to do is make a cast aluminium belt guard here up about so high to stop the swarf and crap going down the hole, and to give a little bit of protection on this. And I'd like to cast launch in it, something like that, just out of aluminium to match the lathe. So that's a thought too. Yeah, I'm not real sure about this camera mount, so I'm just going to move that. That's better. This is another issue that I'd really like to resolve. This pulley here, when I got it, this bottom half was wood with a piece of PVC pipe over the top of it and some electrical tape to build it up in the centre to a crown, because obviously they weren't lined up particularly well. What I ended up doing is getting a friend to bore this out and put this piece in the front. So I've got a belt pulley that matches the other one, which is important, so the belt works on all 3 settings. However, I've got drawings from Model Engineer, and this is another pipe dream project that will probably never happen, but there you go. For a Drummond back gear, aftermarket back gear for a Drummond round bed lathe, which has a similar size pulley. And that's got a 3-speed planetary system, very similar to the Sturmey Archer hub. So it's got basically got a pin that you pull out, and it either locks this to the pulley for flat out, or it runs through the gears for slow, or it locks the gears together so that it runs one ratio through for the other speed. So that would be a really interesting project and something I'd like to do. If I've got nothing to do at some point, I will probably draw it up and 3D print it to see how it works. But at this point, that hasn't happened. And don't hold your breath on it. I would like, and I've been thinking, and I think Stuart's got some pedals for this too. But this, let's start this. This should have a twisted belt pulley on here, and what happens is that these two free range, and if it's running backwards, this pulley here runs on the twisted pulley and runs it backwards, and if you reverse it back over so that this one runs on that pulley, like such, there we go. then this other belt runs on this pulley with 3 wheels. So that's instant reversing, and I've had that hooked up and it works, and I've got a belt here for it. However, there's no stop system on that. There's no stop, like there's no brake system. So what I think I need is to make an extra pulley, another one of these, and gosh, that VFD's noisy. There we go. Need to make another pulley so that they both have a stop position, so that we can have another blank one, I think, in the middle is how it's going to work, or a drive pulley in the middle. I'm not sure, but I'll make another one of these, and then hopefully we can work it out so that there's a stop position or there's a forward and reverse. And I put a interlock on here somewhere with just a drop down piece or something. Bill, that's the stuff you're smoking. So it'll only run operate forward unless you lift the interlock out. So I don't know, but I would like very much, if we have a look over here, this has got a toggle on here that was supposed to operate with basically with a chain or something. And I would like very much to have some sort of a system, whether I make a box here and we go electrical, or whether we probably just have, look, honestly, I've got no idea how to make that work. There's another reason I haven't done anything about it. The other thing is you could install a brake, but that means you've got to stop the motor. Whereas this system is basically instant reversing for thread cutting, which is fantastic. That always looks ugly, Max. But this has got enough friction in the system that it stops pretty quick. If you have a look, we'll start him again. That's pretty quick. We're doing about, see, that's pretty quick stop. It's quicker stop than turning the motor off. Stops in about 2 turns, something like that, 2 or 3 turns. So I don't know, it's a work in progress, and it'll probably never ever be finished, but for some reason this VFD always has a noisy fan when it's, I don't know why. But anyway, I have a light up here as well, so we could turn that on if you wanted to, but it's blowing it out a bit, isn't it? An electric clutch pulley would be good too, but honestly, this works. So why mess around with it? Because it just works. All we need is some way of moving this lever into 3 positions. Either with a clutch, with a foot pedal or a knee lever, or something like an organ stop down here or something like that. Anyway, and keep it looking vintage. That's where we're at with it. But at this point, it's functional and it's pretty good. And if you are cutting a thread where you can stop the lathe and you can reverse that out and you can wind him back however many turns it is and do it again. So it's not such a hardship at this point. If we slow this down a bit, if if we do put a guard on this, we've got to have it so that we can just change the belt over just as easy. So if we slow this down, here, let's start him up again. This is fairly fine feed, but this is turning here like this. So everything's pretty clean and nice. We do seem to have a vibration in the top here somewhere. I don't know where that is. It only seems to be on that slow speed on the belt, but it seems to be up here on this end, so I'm not sure why. That pulley for some reason is making that noise and that slow speed. But have a look, that's working under power there. This has only started making this funny rattling noise since I've had it set up here, so something might not be tight or aligned or whatever. I'll get to the bottom of it. So could be that the belt might be a fraction tight, something like that. We'll have a look and we'll mess it around. Anyway. I'll have to have a look at that, Max. Anyway, if someone wants the plans for the planetary hub with a view to modelling it up and set them in STL so I can print it, it's there and you're very, very welcome. But I don't expect that of anyone. So that's where we are. This bench here is a work in progress. I'm sorry, guys. It's a little bit terrible. Trying to source... come down here where it's actually cleaner. Trying to source inserts for my solid rock boring bars. Got 3 of them. And I'm struggling a bit with that. So we haven't at this point managed to find them here in Australia, but we're still looking because I miss them. Another fairly useful piece of kit in this workshop, and most people probably don't have one in their workshop. Oh, crap. Sorry. Is this. I've drawings, I haven't really got like proper plans yet. I've sketches out of a book from 100 years ago, 120 years ago. There's a clipper belt lacer. Everyone needs one. I just put something away. How cool is that? So there we go. This is a like most things, the cleanup's a work in progress. I have one of these. I've had it for a while. It seems to be pretty good. It's had some use. Don't mind it actually. Mine seems pretty good. This is probably not a bad tool. It needs setting up, and a polishing mop on both ends might be really useful. This is Miller's Falls. I think it's about 100 years old, or 200 years old, probably 150 years old anyway. 1890s, 1900, something like that. Anyway, I have one. I've got all the bits for it. There's 2 nuts for this and a lock nut, and it runs on a round belt on a motor, but I don't know if it's particularly useful or whether I should buy another grinder at some point for putting polishing buffs on, because I think that might be more hassle than it's worth. To be honest, it's probably fairly underpowered. So if anyone wants that, it's probably for sale. Another thing that I'm trying to give away is a pair of centres for this. Haven't got a lot of use for them. It's this one, and there's another centre too, offset one, like with an offset centre in it. They've got 10mm slots in them. I reckon they're off a grinding bench and it's had a cover on here. Don't know if I've got any use for them. They're keyed. So when I bought that compound and been messed around with, I bought it from Germany, the one that's on the lathe, and this is the tool post that was on it, which is sort of height adjustable, and to be honest, sort of a mix up. So I reckon someone's made that for the launch. I really don't know, but it's got a multi fix on it now. It could, Craig, but it's really too much messing about. Anthony, I'll try and remember. I'll see if I can get some pictures. Slow speed diamond lap. See, this is the trouble. At some point, I'd like to turn this into a slow speed diamond lap, but it hasn't happened yet. So this is just junk that you find when you're cleaning up. None of which is particularly useful. What else? On this bench, probably not very much. This chest of drawers is starting to fill up again. I've got some new badges on this. Where's her finger? So some new plates on this. Another one up there's their small files. Slowly. Can make a rotary welding table with a wiper mate. It's too good to throw out and really not particularly useful for anything as such. But anyway, I've got a workshop full of that stuff. Now, a few people commented on this lathe and asked about it. Whenever I put up a video or something, someone usually asks about this lathe. There's the head off the grinder. Take care, Max. Get in touch though, because we'll talk. This came from Matty, and I was given an opportunity to pick this up, and I'm really pleased for that. But Haven't done much with it. I did fix this. I think I did a video about that, sorting this out, because someone had run a low belt on it with a low motor on the bench, which isn't really ideal. Probably they should have a hole here and a hole here, or a slot through here on the bench, and a bigger wheel underneath the bench with a belt that runs down each side. That's how it should be set up. And no one's bothered to do that. So look like they probably hit this with a grinding wheel or file or something to fix that, and I filled that up again. This is a pretty tidy little lathe. The bed's pretty well fantastic. The headstock's not shabby. The tailstock's pretty good. Most of this is good too, except the dovetail, or the T-slot here, has been pulled out of the cast iron, so that's something that needs to work. It's a bit of a mess, but apart from that, this like the slide for it's pretty good too. Don't have a brazing job. It's probably a new lump of cast iron job. That's probably the most likely thing that's going to happen. Or I could do what I did to the other one and cut him out and screw 2 pieces in it, but I'm not sure about that either. But that's really the other major thing that's wrong with this. And it needs a little bit of work. But it needs sitting up on a bench. It needs a sewing machine motor underneath with a decent sized pulley on it. And then the trouble is, if you get it going, you start chasing accessories for it, and that's the slippery slope. Once you start buying accessories for lathes like that, it gets way out of control. It really does. The big one's bad enough. And I sold a WW. What about a steam engine? Dan says, what about a steam engine? There's a Myford Boy engine up there. I think that's probably the only steam engine that I have on the bench down here. We could set up a steam engine. Yeah, everything works better with a steam engine, but I'm not convinced that's the most sensible way to set that up so that I use it. The Stewart 400 would probably run it, and that's what it was designed to do, was run workshop machinery. But the trouble is the Stewart 400 don't run. Sorry about that. It's one of the tragic inequalities of life, really. It'd be awesome if it did, but it doesn't. Anyway, I'd like to set this up nice and compact with decent gear and probably an overhead, because I'd like to do pivot polishing for clocks and things with it. But anyway, we'll see. I'd like to make this into a clock repair lathe, so pivot polisher and engine turning gear and screw head polishing, all that sort of stuff I'd like to put on that eventually. Probably it's going to be a retirement project in another 20 years anyway. Now, I've decided in the next little while, and it's going to be a little while because I've still got bills and things to pay, and I've got people who've sorted crap out for me and done amazing things for me that need to get squared off, etc, etc, etc. But at some point when we get on top of things, that we're going to buy a sandblasting cabinet. I don't know whether we're going to put it here where all this junk is. Honestly, we're still cleaning up this stuff. Or whether we're going to put it over there where all that junk is. Or whether we're going to put it somewhere in there where all that junk is. But that's where we're at. Still have to think about it. But at some point, that's going to happen. And it could be 6 months' time, but it will happen. Anyway, that's the state of the workshop at the moment. Don't, Craig, don't. Yeah, if anyone wants, let's go into fridge too. There's some, you need a big compressor to run a sandblaster. Yeah, we'll have to look for something like that. Fridge, if you come up, there's some belt pulleys and things here. You probably take them back with you too. This was the things that useful things, you know. Let's move this down a bit. Go make friends. Yeah. The trouble is with some things and most things is that it's going to be cheaper to get a sandblasting cabinet than actually do it yourself than it is to take it across the back fence and get someone to do it for you to go and rake, because they're all flat out busy here. Boats here in Coomera are a big business. So these decent brass bearing blocks, at some point in the move, I've misplaced the brass out of this one. It's probably not a big deal to make one if I had to, but they're a couple of nice bearing blocks. I have a tumbler, absolutely have a tumbler. I haven't used it here in the new workshop, but it doesn't give the finish I'd like on a lot of things, or that it doesn't clean up a lot of things, and there's some bigger things here that I'd like to clean up. So fridge, when you come up, there's the other half of that pulley. It's yours, it needs some coach bolt. But unless someone else wants it, has a greater need. But I bought it with a view to putting it underneath the lathe, and I ended up buying a paper pulley and converting that, which is a much better system. So there we go. See, you always find someone you can give stuff to. Apart from that, we're getting pretty set up and pretty organised, really. Things are starting to look like they're actually going to come back together and everything's going to be fine and work. And I'm happy with that. But it's still a ways to go because I'm still unpacking stuff here flat out. Still finding stuff, and I still go looking for things that I haven't got a clue where they are. Still haven't found the BFD book. I don't know where that is. It must be here somewhere because I know I packed it. No idea where it is. Anyway, there we go. The only thing you missed in the workshop tour is the D-bit grinder over there, and that gets a fair bit of work, actually. Use that all the time. Russell's got a tumble dryer that you can use for something. Okay. I don't want a boat project. Promise, Warren. I really don't want a boat project. Don't know if there's much else to show you, really. What else is everyone else happening? What else is everyone else doing? Thanks, Everett. I needed that, but it is a bit sort of crazy here, and I'm still looking for stuff, and I'm still finding stuff. I've got boxes with stuff in that I haven't got a clue where they are. The stuff I know I packed. There's 2 oilers out of this bike, 2 little oil caps, 3 little oil caps. I think I had 2 anyway. One for that, and one for the bearings in the frame. And I know I packed them because I remember saying, I know exactly what that is, I'll put it away. But I've got no idea where it is. None at all. Went in a box somewhere. Maddie's editing, that's always a good sign. Anthony Ruddy's rebuilding his Bucks trailer so he can come and get that drill press. Dan's been rearranging workshop to make columns and roof trusses for the timber mill. Lost the motivation to make a video about it. That's very easy to do, and I understand. But you can get it back. I made a video this week and I really enjoyed it, and was really glad to put it up actually. If I'd been a bit more passionate about it, I might have made a video about it actually doing the job, and that may have been better or not, I don't know. Bill's making knives on Discord. Go and check out the Discord server if you're around. Pretty seriously awesome stuff he does. I've got one of his knives. No letter from you, Everett. Didn't see it. I don't think. Just going through a box of stuff here, unpacking it, and I shouldn't be, but some pretty special stuff in here. It's my little sign plate. So this was a gift from a good friend and viewer at the Summer Bash, and the good friend's actually passed away now, so it's a bit sad. I'll show this again, Anthony says. Whoa. Okay. This is a bit special actually. I talked to Steve at Solid Rock Machine Shop and said, I'd really like one of those, I'd be happy to pay for it, but that's when I was rich and stuff. And I thought, well, if he makes me one, I will probably sort out the cash because it's worth having and it's a really nice job. Pretty special bit of gear actually. Anyway, he sent it to me as a gift, which was really nice of him, and I do appreciate it. So it's been used once, I think. Come before I said change workshops. It's been used once, but I've got a couple of jobs lined up where it will get used. And it's a pretty nice bit of gear. It says Emma Spare Room Machine Shop on one side, and it says Solid Rock Machine Shop Incorporated on the other side. So that's it's a sign plate really, not a sign blower. It's got screws up the top of it. And they're all black and white units, but they're all right. Do I have gauge blocks? Yes, I have gauge blocks. I've got metric gauge pins and I've got imperial gauge blocks, but this is imperial sign bar, so a sign plate, so that's cool. Tron's Workshop. G'day. Good to see you. Thanks for tuning in. This is a little Starrett mic that a good friend who's a long-time viewer actually gifted me at Summer Bash. I just cleaned it out and cleaned through a box and found that too. It's a little ball end mill for measuring, a ball end mic for measuring tube thickness. Pretty useful thing, and I used it a lot. It's American, so it's freedom units. Black and white measurement, I think it's, I'll just wind it back and we'll see, I think it's 1/2 inch it goes to. Yeah. Can we see that? Focus. Focus, focus. I hope, but yeah, it goes to 1/2 inch. So, fairly useful thing for measuring tube thickness. Bald Eagle sort of as bad obsession motorsport says black and white units. If you're watching in black and white, that's the actual unit. Apart from that, the box has all got micrometers in it. So, still going through stuff, looking for answers, none of which I really have. There are no answers. Does anyone here need imperial dial indicators? If they're name brand dial indicators, why don't you order imperial dials from? Probably as simple as that. But Maddie's always up for imperial stuff, and I use them. I've got imperial and metric, and honestly, I've got digital on most of my gear, and then I can just swap in between. I'm reasonably fluent in both. But, I mean, if it comes to upgrade, probably Starrett and Michitoyo and all those, you can just order a new dial and swap over, I think. Nowadays, he has to keep that one. Nowadays, most of my measuring gear, honestly, most of the projects I do are in imperial. Most of my drill bits are in metric, and you've got to make a happy sort of a medium in between that. So, kind of it works. But here in Australia, we're pretty bilingual too. So, yeah. Anyway, there we go. I was supposed to do a little sheet metal job tonight, but my colleague had a template to give to me, and I said put it in my bag, and he went and put it in his bag. So I don't know what he was thinking there, but anyway, I'll get it tomorrow, and I might do it tomorrow night. Pretty straightforward, like a metal tray to go in some manufactured leather goods. And of course, we're all about manufactured leather goods at work. But Craig's right, DRO's the answer on a milling machine, and it'd be nice on the lathe too, but there's not really enough room to fit that and all the other things that I want to do. So it's not going to happen on the lathe at this point. But probably I will get find a long travel indicator at some point and probably attach them somehow so that I can use them. Whitworth tools, it's awesome. I was watching the Eddie's latest couple of videos, and he's buying English car parts, so he probably needs Whitworth tools too. But I just shake my head at him. He knows that I think it's funny, but anyone who collects English car parts and And English bike parts of a certain age has got rocks in their heads. BA I don't mind. BA is a good, sensible sheet metal thread that if there was a metric alternative, I would use it. But BA is a pretty sensible thread for thin sections and soft materials. So it's excellent. It's well thought out and it's great, really. Anyway, we're probably nearly done here, are we? We're running out of things to talk about. Can't think of anything else. Moz has got a 48 BSA in the shed somewhere. Yeah, you've got a couple of trucks for sale. If you want to buy a couple of trucks, Woz has hit him up. Projects, they're in Sydney somewhere. I think Western Sydney. You should probably, yeah, bear in mind that if you buy anything off him, I think you're crazy. But each their own, really. Yeah, Nigel, OBA is the only sensible one of the whole lot. The rest don't make any sense at all. But it is a pretty sensible sort of. Well, it has its definite uses, and it's a good system in soft materials, and it's a good system in thin materials. Anyway, anyone got anything else to add? We've got a whole take care, Wazza. I have a machinist handbook, which is probably mostly imperial, but I don't really use it. And to be honest, I kind of feel like if I want to look up something special, I will. And like tapered pins or splines or gear, helical gears or things like that, yeah, I'll drag it out. But mostly the black book's the way to go. Got a couple of those. This one's a bit special. I guess everyone's seen this. Sign. So that's pretty awesome. Really, really awesome. But that's a pretty good book, and the big print one's excellent. It's almost 8 Whitworth. 8 Whitworth will screw in a 5BA hole, and 5BA won't screw in 8 Whitworth. So there you go. The metric black book's pretty much the same as the imperial one, except that it's in a different order. I think that's the difference, really. So I've got one of each, and I think they've got the same content in it, just one comes first. So anyway, I'm probably going to call this a night. Go and find something to drink and go upstairs and see what's happening. Take care, Everett. Good to see you. Good to see you too, Maddie. The editing sounds like an awesome thing. Expecting a video from Craig at any moment. Good to see you, John's workshop. Bill, it's good to see you up still. Anyone else who's still on? It still says there's 32 people and 14 thumbs up. Thanks, guys. The subscribers says 7020. I think it's 70. I lost 2 subscribers on that last video, so that's obviously a bad sign. I don't know what happened there. Take care, Kevin. Good to see you. Sorry to keep you up. You're sticking around to the end. And take care, Mats. I'll be around next week, I reckon, if nothing worse happens. Take care, Paul. Keep the videos coming. Paul Schaus, good day and good night, etc., etc. See you, Russ Knox. Be good, everyone. Take care, Anthony. Get in touch with Matty. He's a great guy. Look after him. And enjoy your lunch, John. Stuart, we'll talk because I've got stuff to send to you. So at some point, I'll post something to you. Anyway, take care and more soon. Don't forget to like and subscribe, all that sort of stuff. And be kind to each other. And see you, Paddy. I'm out. Thanks, Nigel.